What's good, homies? What's good? What's good? You know, when we talk about validation, the problem with it isn't that it's empty or that men give it to women whether they deserve it or not. It's the fact that whatever the validation is, a woman will convince herself to believe it. So, in essence, she seeks out someone to fill her head with untruths that she can very easily turn into truths. So, for example, your woman can gain 50 pounds and she'll still be telling herself that she still looks the same, even though she's the one going to the store or going online ordering the bigger size in clothes. She'll still tell herself that, she's only gained a few pounds. And that's just the way her mind functions. But every now and then, a woman will arrive at the point in life where she's gotten old enough, usually beyond the wall, way beyond the wall, where she'll have the wherewithal and intestinal fortitude, or just overall don't give a careness to openly rebuke and chastise those women who still, younger than her and even at her age and sometimes even older, seek to be validated with lies and untruths about themselves that they know aren't true, but they can still embrace it as the way that a man views them. So if a woman knows that she has done something that has changed her appearance tremendously, she will rely on you as a man to say, that's not what happens. No, no, you look very good in that dress. No, those pants look good on you, even though they don't. Even though she can't even button them up, but they still look good on her because he said so. So it's basically getting a lie to help soften the truth of where she is in her life. And recently, there's an author, Solomon Bucci, who proposed to his Nigerian fiance, man. And what he said to her was what I would say to a woman, to remind her that no matter how much I care about her, she will not walk around with me feeling full of herself. So he basically said that she's not the most beautiful, she's not the most intelligent, but he's not looking for perfection. And man, boy, women lost it online. And of course, the old ladies on The View had to chime in. And I mean, man, one of them said she hates the guy, and what they said is that rather than tell him the truth, they would rather hear sweet lies that they know aren't true, but that they can wrap their mind around as truth. And lo and behold, Whoopi Goldberg had to let him have it. But even more so, after they said all of this, his fiance herself came out and spoke on it. And after getting out of her feelings, she admits that she realized what he was saying and it wasn't a really big deal to her. So let's take a listen, man, and then we'll come back and chime in on it. Or better yet, we'll chime in on the way through a little bit and then we'll come back and chime in on it after the fact. But let's take a listen.
As host and writer Solomon Bucci posted a tribute to his fiance that caused a backlash on social media. It reads, "Not the most beautiful woman, neither are you the most intelligent woman, but I've chosen never to find perfection in anyone else." He later clarified it by saying, "It may not sound like a compliment, but it's a realistic base for love." Would and I get it, because people will say to you, "Oh, that's not the most beautiful woman. You could be with some," and he's saying she's not the most beautiful, not the brightest either, but I love her.
Now, I'll tell y'all this. That's easy for Whoopi to say because I remember back in the day when Whoopi was dealing with Ted Danson, the white actor who was the star of Cheers, the sitcom. He they were in, I never forget, they were in Jet magazine, which was a black magazine. And they were in there and they were at some type of costume party or something, and he was dressed in blackface. And the backlash from that was, especially for her, the backlash for her was worse because she was there taking part in it. And the thing that was always said was, what does he see in Whoopi? So she can understand that, but that's a good thing because all women have imperfections. And so just because your woman isn't, looks better than Whoopi or looks better than most women around you, or even if she's a very, very attractive woman, she still has enough physical flaws where you can't pedestalize her and elevate her based on what she looks. And his girl isn't an ugly girl. She's a fairly attractive woman. But in his mind, he had to let her know that no, you're not the most beautiful. Like none of us have the most beautiful woman. There are many of you men in here who can honestly say that your woman is the most beautiful woman you've ever seen. She may be the most beautiful woman you've ever had, but she's probably not the most beautiful woman you've ever seen. And any man who wraps his mind around that concept that she is just a man who's living in a fantasy world because that's what his mama taught him to do. So let's get back into this and let's listen to some of what these other women say, man. Like they're really gonna let this guy have it.
But it reminds me of I didn't think it was a bad thing.
I hate it. It reminds me of that Rodgers and Hart song, My Funny Valentine.
Yeah.
The most insulting song I've ever heard. Your looks are laughable, unphotographable.
Yeah.
Is your figure less than Greek? Is your mouth a little weak? When you open it to speak, are you smart? You know what? Sod off, as the Brits say.
Yeah.
You know what? That's
What?
an insulting song. It's a nasty little song. I hate that song.
Yeah. And I hate this guy.
The song that we like, though, is Tell Me Lies, Tell Me Sweet Little Lies.
That's right. It's like, I worry about this guy. I hate him, but I worry about this guy for this woman because as they, if they get married, I wouldn't marry him after saying all that. But like as she gets older, what is he gonna do? Oh, babe, you look a little fat today. Oh, babe, that was really stupid that you said that. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Now help me understand what's wrong with a man saying that if it's true. You have to be able to tell your woman, like, see, she wants a man to not tell her anything about her imperfections. Like she wants a man to just sit back and watch her gain 100, 150 pounds without saying anything. No, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to keep your woman in line, but because she lives in a fantasy world. She lives in a love fantasy. And what happens is in a situation like this goes against the love fantasy that these women live in because her fantasy of love never measures up to the reality of love. So if a man loves you, he doesn't just let you go and let yourself go and become whatever you want to become. No, if a man loves you, he keeps you in line. He does for you what you can't do for yourself. And that is view yourself from a realistic perspective. You see what I'm saying? And the problem is when men turn into simps and start playing this way and doing this thing, then the environment feels unsafe to the man. If you allow your woman to just go and become whatever she wants to become and let her go, you're not even attracted to her anymore, then the environment becomes unsafe for you mentally, spiritually, because it becomes a stressful environment. Whenever you marry a woman and she's a size 5 and eventually she becomes a size 22, then you're not the same and your environment isn't the same. Your home isn't the same. Your bedroom isn't the same. Your bed is the same. Nothing is the same at that point because that's not the woman that you married. That's not the woman that you had in the beginning. And women don't understand that that transformation truly makes you a different woman. We can't overlook your physicality. And I think the problem is women want us to. They want us to overlook feminine her feminine characteristics. And when they leave, they want us to act like they're still there. And that's why a woman like this will marry a man she can't submit to. And she can manipulate his mind to do whatever she wants to do. And so she wants him to tell her lies. Yes, you just heard, tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. That's a song. And those women say they would rather have that than to have the Funny Valentine song where a man says, hey, you're still my Valentine, but you kind of funny looking, you kind of funny sounding. What women don't understand is that they have flaws. And now, on one hand, they want you to love them in spite of their flaws, love them through their flaws. But on the other hand, they want you to act like the flaws don't exist. So not only do they want you to love them in spite of their flaws, they want you to love them like the flaws don't exist. And it's just not going to happen. But let's finish listening to this.
Your partner should lie to you if they
No, they shouldn't lie to you.
Say,
oh my
you are
God.
beautiful, the most special, the most
my
beautiful I've
Lord.
ever met.
It's just very backhanded. And by the way, I would know. I would know. She's very beautiful in the picture we put up.
She looks better than he does.
She's better looking than him. I will say this: my husband Justin, he does tell me sweet little lies, and I prefer that.
Yes.
Do I know that he thinks Dua Lipa's hotter than me? Yes, but I still want him to tell me I'm the most beautiful woman in the world.
Yep.
Like, and by the way,
Now I want y'all to listen to that. I want y'all to listen to what she said. She wants him to tell her that she's the most beautiful woman in the world, even though she knows a woman that he thinks is harder than her. What good does it do? Are you going to believe it even though you know for a fact it's not true? See, this is the type of games that you have to deal with when you don't run your household with an iron fist. Like you have to run your household in a way that's honorable to you, because if not, a woman will have you playing these types of games. And that's why, she wants her man. She wants a man who's going to lie to her. She wants a man who's going to tell her sweet little lies. But here's the thing: if you tell her lies, then she's going to tell you lies. And before you know it, the entire relationship is built on a bunch of lies. Nobody can be motivated to improve the things they need to be improved if you lie to them about those things and tell them that doesn't even exist. It just doesn't happen, man. It doesn't make sense for a man to do that. It doesn't make sense for a woman to want that, but they do. Why? Because most women are lazy lovers and always need extra motivation to continue giving their best effort. You see what I'm saying? And men don't take that into consideration. Men think that you can just, you know, pacify a woman and she's going to keep giving her best effort. No, she's going to get comfortable. If you let her get comfortable in one area, she's going to get comfortable in another area. I truly believe that if a woman gets to a point where she lets herself go to a point, her punishment is that you don't be intimate with her. It makes no sense for you to have a woman who you were attracted to in the beginning. Obviously, if you married the woman, you were attracted to her the way she was. You know what I'm saying? Now, here's what they want. They want you to meet them and, I love you just the way you are. And then 5 years later, 10 years later, when they're not that way anymore, they want you to turn around and say, okay, you're not the same, but guess what? The way you are now, I love you just the way you are. That's what they want you to do. They want you to make the adjustments and not chastise them and correct them to the point where they have to make the adjustments to correct the things that they've allowed to go to the wayside. And it just doesn't make sense for any man to do that. I'm not going to do it. You shouldn't do it either. And here's the thing: the motivation and lies don't even have to come from you. You see what I'm saying? That same woman who said, I love when my man tell me lie, she'll be the very woman go cheat on her husband. You know what I'm saying? Because she knows the things that he's saying. She just said, I know another woman that he thinks is harder than me. But if she meets a man who actually views her as the hottest woman, there are men out here, no matter what, no matter how your woman deteriorates physically or she lets herself go or whatever happens, there's a man out there who can't do better than that version of her. There's a man out there who can't get her best version, but her worst version is better than anything he's ever had before. So he's going to worship her like she's the most beautiful woman he's ever known, and he's going to treat her like that. And so your fake validation is never going to measure up to his real validation. That's why a woman who has a rich husband or a handsome husband or a powerful husband, she'll go and like sleep with the gardener or the pool guy, or the guy who works at the corner store down there, the guy who who changes her flat, or one of those guys, the waiter at the restaurant or something like that. Why? Because that man truly feels like she's a prize and he's going to treat her like that. Here's the thing about it: if you can tell a woman she's the prize all you want to, but if you don't feel that, you're not going to be able to show it. Because putting a woman in a position in your life, man, it's an internal thing that takes place. Let's finish this up, man. I kind of got off track. My bad.
her intelligence might be the worst part. Like, Justin would be sleeping outside if he said, my wife's not the most intelligent.
I break with you. I'm on Team Whoopi here purely because I think his attempt might have.
You know what? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. My husband with Justin would be sleeping outside. You see what I'm saying? I'm telling you, a woman has to have a man who bows down to her in order for her to even feel comfortable saying he would be sleeping outside. What's she gonna do? Put him out? Put him out his own house? And here's the thing: well, she probably make the most money. She on TV. It don't matter. Same way the laws make everything ours. When I got it and we married, the laws make everything ours when she got it and y'all married. See what I'm saying? So ain't no way. Just that type of talk means that these women live in a delusional world, man. But let's get back into it, man.
little bit, because I don't think you need to put that out in writing. Like, we all know
Can you
it.
imagine
but
Max
do we need
telling
to?
you, Sarah, you're not that cute?
Well, I can say it. I don't like when he
But that's
says
not
it.
what he said.
But what he did is he is maybe approaching marriage wisely, because I do think. Don't look at me like
He's
that.
approaching
that
her risk is what
no,
he's approaching.
because I think what he's saying is to expect perfection is to be disappointed.
Yeah.
And I loved what
Yes.
he said. Now, again, I hope his proposal was a little more romantic, but this in itself, I understood where he was going.
Yeah.
You know, somebody
Don't, you
said
know
to
what, girl?
Steve once-
Just keep it calm. You know he loves you and you love him. If you decide to marry him, just know that that's where he's at. He's not asking you to be perfection. He's asking you,
Johnny!
you know, he's asking you to be the woman he loves. And for all these other people who need to hear lies from people, who want, so when you put the pants on and your behind looks like the side of a gate and he doesn't tell you that those pants are too small for the size of your behind, it's a problem.
Now that's phenomenal. That is the proper mindset to have. On the one hand, if you go out and cheat on the woman, she wants you to be honest. Now, I bet those same women who are saying that if the man went out and cheated or found somebody else he wanted to be with, they want him to be honest about it. You know, if the man ended up with a gambling habit or a drug habit, they want him to be honest about it. You understand? If something from his past could affect her negatively, let's say the man found out he had HIV, and yeah, she'd want that. You know what I'm saying? She'd want that. But here in this situation, in a way that's going to hold her accountable for her actions, she doesn't want honesty. This is the prime example of the lack of accountability that men deal with in this particular society. You're going to deal with this lack of accountability. And why are you going to deal with it? Because this is what a woman expects you to deal with. She expects you to live in the same fantasy world she lives in. And how dare you burst her fantasy bubble? Because you'll be sleeping out on the porch, or at the very least, on the couch. Now let's listen to what his actual fiance has to say about this. And you're going to hear a woman who is down to earth and understands exactly what this man was saying. And she's brought to the reality of who she is and what she represents in his life. But he just proposed to her. How can she be mad? Now listen to her energy.
Um, but he sent it a couple of days before he actually posted it. And when he sent it to me, I think I was working. So I think I just glanced at it and I was and when I saw that first sentence, I was like, what do you mean? How can I not be?
Oh,
um, because I think that idealist in me kind of like and the sentimental part of me kind of popped up, and I was like, what do you mean I'm not the most beautiful? Like, what are you chatting about, bro?
Now, what you heard is a woman who initially responded a certain way. Now, what you heard is a woman who initially responded a certain way. But when she came to realize that nothing he said was wrong, he may have been a little bit brash in a woman's opinion, but what he said wasn't wrong. He simply said, you're human. You're a woman. You have things that are not perfect about you. The same way we as men have strengths and normalcies, you have things that are normal. You understand? Above average. But that's none of that matters. What matters is our connection. What matters is the energy that we share. What matters is the effort you put in to assist me in the process of my progress. What matters is, the way you look at me when I walk in the door. What matters is the way I feel your love coming down when we wrestle in my castle. You understand? These are the types of things that men must understand are valuable, and women forget those things. And so he did the right thing in reminding her of those things. See, the problem is what we have to understand is when you hear those women on the show, they have self-hatred for themselves, and therefore they need more love than one man can ever hope to give. She needs to know that you value her more than she values herself. So when a woman lets herself go, she knows she let herself go. She looking at herself in the mirror when she get out of the tub. She knows what she look like when she get out of the shower. She knows it. But she needs you to act like you don't know it. She needs you to validate her She needs you to give her compliments that aren't earned. She needs you to give her validation that isn't earned. She needs you to give her motivation to continue to believe that she don't need to work. She don't want to be motivated to get the work done or do the work. She wants to be motivated to believe that she doesn't have to do the work. You're okay with who she is. The problem is the very morning you're okay with who she is, when she meets a man who's not okay with who she is, because when her self-esteem is that low, because she truly knows who she is, she's more vulnerable to, receiving another man's attention, another man's energy, another man's validation. And when that man says, hey, you know what, you'd be a beautiful woman if you did this. You know what I'm saying? You be, you're I can tell that there's an attractive woman under there. We just got to peel off these layers and get down to her. These are the types of things that you must say to a woman. You cannot allow yourself to be afraid to correct your woman, because if you can't correct her, then you can't respect her and you must neglect her. That's just the reality of it. So, shout out to Whoopi Goldberg, man, for trying to talk some sense into these ladies, but obviously they have their mind set in a way where their self-esteem is so low that it hurts them that a man would dare tell a woman the truth about herself. And the truth is, nobody's perfect. As men, we know this. And if you got any sense as a man, your woman gonna know it too. If not, you got a mess on your hands, and she gonna be trying to put you on the porch. I hope it's warm out there. Y'all comment down below and let me know what you think about this topic, man. I look forward to hearing what your men have to say. I'm out.
Alphas up, betas down, it's the motto. Simps claiming that they pimps, but they not though. Alphas up, betas down, it's the motto. Suckers claiming to be players, but they not though. Alphas up, betas down, it's the motto. Tricks acting like they max, but they not though. Alphas up, betas down, it's the motto. Betas claiming to be alpha, but they not though. Now I'm not gonna tell you, man, that you shouldn't value your woman at all. A woman does have value, but you can't overvalue her